Hi everybody. Sometimes I can't go for a bike ride because I still work. I'm looking forward to the day where I'm retired and I can actually get out and do a bike ride anytime I want. But when I can't do a bike ride, I usually spend time in my favorite garden, and that is right here in my backyard. So let's walk you through some of the things that are in my backyard. First off, I'm starting you kind of on the edge here. We've got a olive tree. Now, olive trees in Arizona are kind of banned. So you're wondering, how do I get an olive tree? This is a fruitless olive tree. And you can see I'm getting really close. You can see there's kind of like these little blossoms. Every once in a while, it'll produce one olive. All of those would be olives if this wasn't a fruitless olive tree. But it's just there for decoration. So when I look out my office window, I can see something that's pretty cool. Here is a couple of bushy bougainvilleas to fill in some color. They are losing most of their little flowers or leaves right now, spread across my yard that I have to pick up now and then. Here is a big old Texas sage that I'm trying to grow into be like more of a natural. It's just going straight up, which is cool. But the thing is, a lot of these, you find these trimmed into like little balls. And what happens when you do that, you don't get these beautiful blooms. And you see the bee? Bees love this flower. Isn't that pretty? Yeah, so it's blooming right now. Here's some more of that bougainvillea. This tree here in front of me, I'm going to back up a little bit so you can see it, was a bush. I bought this back when Target used to have a garden center, and they had a day where they had like special trees or plants from Australia. There's a bird up in the bush, in this tree I should say. I have no idea what it's called. Kind of looks like a eucalyptus, right? But it's not. It's not a eucalyptus. And it is not supposed to be a tree. It's just, I grew it from one stalk and made it into a tree. I'll show you the same tree as a bush in a second. Some roses, not right quite yet. Here's some tomato plants, little tomatoes down there. Yeah. The sound up there is a hummingbird. I don't know where it's at. But birds love this tree as a place to put their nest, that's for sure. It's a purple prickly pear in a pot. Most of the cactus I have grew from maybe one or two stalks that I found somewhere. Here's another purple prickly pear, another purple prickly pear, and there are a couple more out there. All these came from one pad that I grabbed off of the ground that a plant had fallen, a pad had fallen off. I threw it on the basket of my bike, brought it home, planted it, and kept taking off pieces. This is such a cool one because it's so purple. Lantana, got a couple. That bird bath needs some water. Mexican bird of paradise, aloe vera. This is a creosote bush. I don't know what this is, but it's tiny, and it's funny, it's never really grown. So the cool thing about that tree right there, which is called a sweet acacia, it gets these little orange pom-poms that kind of smell like floor cleaner, I would say. Some people like the smell, some people hate the smell, but they have these pods on them, and you might be able to see them. They're kind of hard to see, but the pods came off of this tree originally. My son, when he was 3 or 4 years old, I can't remember exactly, about 3 or 4, between 3 and 4, planted them out here in this planter. They all grew. So I didn't want to have a bunch of trees. I just took one and allowed it to grow. And that's this one. So it has a special meaning to me. Now, when you get close to it, on the back side here, and I hope you can see this part of the tree is all dead. Right here, the tree broke in half and fell over. I held it up for a while with some stakes and cut this back really, really far so it didn't have any weight on the back. And then, look what it did. It grew around. The tree grew around the dead center part, and all this, it's kind of very, to me, that's really cool Japanese bonsai style. I love trees that are just more natural, and that one definitely is. And you can see it's pretty sturdy. I don't think it's going anywhere, but I leave this bottom part that grows off the bottom because it's kind of like its way of saving itself. If for some reason the top were to break off, the bottom still lives, I could trim those into a tree. A few more aloe vera. All the aloe vera you see in my yard came from one plant, and they all were just distributed. I could pull any of these out and start filling up a whole nother yard. Well, here's a jojoba bean plant. This one right here is jojoba. There's the mama tree that grew a new tree. This is back over there. You saw that other tree that was giant that I got from Target. Same thing, but this one I grew as a bush, but it's gotten pretty tall itself. I like this color leaves, and you'll see that a few times. But this one looks sort of like a eucalyptus or something. It's kind of got that feel. It takes. I've trimmed this to get to this point, the way it's looking. Believe it or not, it's not just grown wild. But I like that silvery looking plant. Same thing with this purple silvery looking purple prickly pear. I don't know what this is called, but it's a very rare plant. It has a flower that comes out now and then that is really cool. This is the flowers aren't there anymore, unfortunately, but it's kind of like a bird of paradise tree. There's a few flowers. It was really heavily damaged in a storm too. It used to be three. There used to be three stalks, broke down to just one. Looked pretty pathetic for the longest time. I've grown it into its own little bonsai shape. I hope you like it. I like it. It doesn't matter if you like it. I like it. I don't care. Some more aloe vera. Again, all from the same plant. Another bougainvillea. A few more kind of yucca type plants. Here's an ocotillo that I found. A lot of it, there's a theme here. This one I found kind of in a trash can. I don't know if it's going to come back to life. It hasn't leafed out for a little while, so it might be dead. It got crushed too when the tree fell. I had this gigantic mesquite tree in the middle of my yard, right where that kind of memorial to the tree is, and that metal roadrunner. This here is called a feather duster. Bees love it. Look at all those bees. Hummingbirds like it. Look at that. Yeah, I guess the bees like my camera too. A very desert plant, likes the drought tolerant nature of it. This is a Mexican bird of paradise. This will get really huge. Got to cut it all the way back. This yucca style plant has 6 blooms on it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the hummingbirds again love this plant. These little flowers here. See how they? Oops, that one popped off. But this little flower here. The hummingbirds come in here and get whatever they can get out of there. And then I guess a couple more trees. This one is an Acacia mulga. Not natural. This is an Australian plant, but it's from I like again the silvery color of the leaves. And it was a runt. It was just tiny. It never really was growing. Some people would say, why do you have that funny looking tree in the backyard? But when my 2 big trees, a giant like 40-foot mesquite and a 50-foot Palo Verde, fell in a huge storm where we had a microburst and just ripped it and almost fell on my house. This tree found itself as the center of the attention, and it's enjoying it. So it's starting to really, really sprout out and get stronger. It still looks kind of spindly. Here is, but I love it. I love your tree. Here is rosemary. Big old rosemary. You can imagine how that smells. Wow, rosemary. Rosemary supposedly keeps mosquitoes away. Fire stick plant. There's the rosemary again. Here's a crazy plant that I got. This is one of those ornamental cactus that you get at like Home Depot. And I had a few of them in this pot. And this one survived. Overtook the whole pot. Decided to start, I'm going to escape. Let me get out of here. And he went over there. Now, I just leave it there. It's cool. I don't know what I'd ever do if I have to move that. Then there's a few other potted plants. These are called totem poles. My wife loves these. This is a kind of a yucca type style plant. Totem pole, totem pole. This one is a totem pole monsterosa. See how crazy it looks? And that is a bloom. It's going to bloom soon. Behind that is a rescued saguaro. I got that saguaro on the road in an off a trail. Somebody had run over it with what are those kind of ATVs? I was severely damaged on the side. Now it's coming back, looks fine. I just kind of leave it there. It gets the rainwater when it does, and that's the yard. So there is a bike in this yard. Look at that pretty tree. All right, hope you enjoyed that.